But obviously, you need to have some sort of a select thought process. So, making it too candid will defeat the entire purpose. So, I think somewhere we'll have to build in some things. So, what I thought I will bring onto the table is, a few thoughts from a strategy where we are heading into future. I keep brainstorming and I keep coming up with new ideas, new things, correct? So, what I perhaps see as, where potential is there, what things are changing, etc. And from that angle, and of course, some is on the tools and how we can use it better, etc. Okay, so I think a brief of me has been introduced. Just to give you a couple of interesting updates, I had recently had authored a guide on Internet of Things (IoT), where I've spoken on what are the possible roles and responsibilities, or how IoT, Internet of Things, is going to bring in new professional opportunities into this space. So that is something you may want to go ahead and explore it. And I'm also coming up with my fifth or sixth guide. I forgot what number it is, sorry. This is on data privacy, where new things are actually coming up and new opportunities. Hopefully by another 1 or 2 months, or by this quarter, it should be sort of made available to the members. Okay, general disclaimer: views are personal. I don't want to go beyond that. Let's quickly head in. So I thought I'll keep broadly 3 to 4 things and how you can look into these at a high level, so that you get a holistic idea, saying that, hey, this is what it is. Let's not go beyond it, or this is what is the situation or the state of affairs. Correct. So that is my thought process for me to get started, and that is where I said, let's give a perspective of what, when, why, and things like that. Correct. So the first thing which I want to give you is what is today's reality. And the screen, what you notice, my dear friends, I think the image is speaking a whole lot of things. It's speaking a whole lot of things. And why do I say that? Is because there is a whole world which is actually evolving. And it is evolving at such a pace that you have no clue, or rather, all of us have no clue. For a simple example, earlier we had to manually sit and pass entries. Today we are talking about ML algorithms, or even for that matter, simple things which are actually, sort of doing OCR scan based reading. Now, if this is the range at which it goes, data entry will become a thing of the past. Data entry will very soon become a thing of the past, which means we have to actually sort of, change the way in which we work. And that is something which is very critical. You might always think that, hey, this is not applicable for me, this is applicable for somebody else, but sooner or later, I think that's going to fall in place. And this is a future of job reports. I think I would have shared a future of job reports or future of work a few years. I think it was 2018 research, if I understand right. And now this report has come up in 2020. Interesting analysis. What this report says is, there are a good number of stakeholders who will disappear very soon. And unfortunately, our names are appearing there: data entry clerks, accounting, bookkeeping, payroll. But look, on the other side, we are having some interesting increase in demand: data analyst, data scientist, AI machine learning experts, big data specialists. You'll find point 7, which I personally like it a lot: digital transformation, fifth point, process automation specialist. So there are 2 ways in which you can look into this. Option 1 is, hey, the world is changing, a few more years, I'll practice and disappear, I'll take a retirement, whatever. Or the other approach is, can I be more relevant in the future? In fact, the biggest blessings I think which we should be getting today is, may you be relevant in the future. Correct. That's the dynamic way in which business is changing. And this, my difference, is only going to increase by the day. It's only going to increase by the day. It's going to keep on adding more things. Correct. So with that as a context, what is it that we have to approach? What is my typical mindset and my strategy? I'll give you a couple of interesting facts, which is, again, there's a World Economic Forum coupled with Accenture analysis, where they said impact of audit and accounting from a tech perspective is something which is the most significant and level of disruption. And whenever we speak of disruption, we have seen crazy number of models getting disrupted. And the question is only for a few more days for our profession also to come in. There are a lot of tech people who are actually working in this space to disrupt the whole ecosystem, because they want to come up with some innovative products, least affordable, and whole lot of things are going to come up. And more importantly, you know, these are the technologies which are sort of reinventing the way in which we work. They're becoming faster, cheaper. We're talking about new sensors, network, AI, 3D printing, whatever is it, all of them are reinventing the business model. So I think we have to seriously introspect how will our business model as a CA firm or as a CA practice going to get impacted. And that is where some bit of thought process I've been thinking in the last few months or few years, etc. And I said, okay, technology is that one factor which can disrupt. And how can I get adapting technology which is on a pervasive manner? Now, many of them, in fact, if you ask me, everybody say that, I've adopted technology. But are we utilizing the full potential of technology? That's a big question mark. I would give a very crude but actual example. Excel sheet, Microsoft Excel. All of us use it. But the extent of usage of this Microsoft Excel, we all know. Correct? So there is a whole new perspective or a difference in the way that Excel spreadsheet can be used. Correct? Are we using it only for financial preparation, balance sheet? Great. Have we automated something? Have we put in a process? So these are all questions we need to ask ourselves. And throughout this presentation, I'll answer a few other thoughts which is there. What is it that you can do? What is it that goes wrong? What is the good, bad, and things like that? Because I want, as I told you, I want to make a little candid, but this presentation is more to get that sort of a context. This is something which I personally love, and I think all of us will have to go through this. It is called as Accounting Plus Skills Framework Matrix. Feel free to take screenshot of it. It's a terrific, slide which talks about a whole lot of things. And this came up way back in 2018 by way of a EY white paper. It's called The Future of Audit. You can Google it up. What this very interesting matrix says is, in future, if we need to survive, I repeat, in future, we need to survive, we ought to have these five elements, beg your pardon, five elements for us to be more understanding and still be relevant in the domain of accounting. And this is something which I really like. The first piece of it is analytical skill ability. I repeat, first piece of it is analytical skill ability. Now, what is this? Understanding ERP systems. What are the controls in ERP systems? What is the way in which these systems work? What is the logic? How does it work? And a whole bunch of things from an analytical skill space. Correct? Let's look into programming logic. Please note, there is a difference between programming and the programming logic. In a programming logic, you're talking more on the functional element of it. This is where we need to break down our understanding and thought process a little different. What is it that I can do? What is it that I can change? Am I able to visualize the data? Am I able to model analytical? Now, if you notice, many of them, my dear friends, many of them, this analytical modeling is where you have a huge potential. Now, why do I say huge potential? If you notice, one of the key things in the first part of the presentation or the initial slides, I made a mention that, hey, the business models are changing, or for that matter, even your, what do I say, the way in which you are dealing with data is changing. And we're talking about a futuristic generation, which is going to be predominantly driven by all these new age skills. People are jumping and learning Python today. People are jumping and learning analytics and build dashboards. But unfortunately, they have the skill sets from a technical programming angle. They don't know where to display it. Now, given a situation, this is where the core domain of a chartered accountant comes in based on our audit experience. Imagine a situation where we had to come up with a model for predicting. Okay, recently we came across this interesting space for predicting, I repeat, predicting distress of finance or distress in finance. Imagine there was a situation which came up with predicting what could be the implications of NPA. What are the possibilities how these things could change or matter? Now, this is where our focus on the skill set coupled with a programmer's ability to write codes are going to come together. Now, are we able to build these ETLs? So recently I had to do a very, very interesting audit, and this audit was nothing to do with financial transactions. I had to do an audit of how an enterprise KPI systems work. Now, enterprise KPI system is what? Key performance indicators. So did I have to audit the KPI? Did I have to audit the number? Yes, I had to. They had defined what is the KPI, and I had to look into the entire process of how a KPI works. I had to look into the entire way in which systems are generating the KPI information. So you can understand that the perspective is totally different. I had to look into ETL, extract, transform, and load. And what is it? And I was asked to give a certificate for a predetermined purpose. Let's not discuss on that. But the way in which I approached was purely using my auditing knowledge. Purely using my auditing knowledge coupled with some amount of system knowledge. That is where this analytical skill framework is very, very important. The first pillar. Second pillar, trust me, is the most critical thing. Even if you don't have knowledge, second pillar is the critical. I have known various people. I've known various people who are extremely knowledgeable, but unfortunately, the personal skill is lacking, of which there has been a huge impact. It could be the way in which you're communicating, the way in which you're conversing with client, the comfort the client gets, and a whole lot of things. Of course, being a technology digital perspective, I don't want to spend time on that. The third is the mindset. I think it is time that all of us think global. We need to get the ball rolling. We need to think global and still be local. The world of opportunities is coming up to India. And can't we explore? Can't we explore or can't we understand? Or can't we go ahead and try newer things? Try to approach. I'll give you a very simple example. Why can't we approach? It could be even simple as WeCat. I'm sure there are our community members across the globe. Why can't we approach a particular trade organization or an association and we sort of get started with sharing of knowledge? Start speaking about India entry strategy. Start speaking about how we as a firm can actually, or sorry, beg your pardon, we as a network of CAs can be of help. Why can't WeCat itself become a network? Correct. So this is where the global thoughts are actually coming in. We need to question and challenge. And let me tell you, there's a beautiful statement. If we don't disrupt ourselves, somebody else will do it. I repeat this. If we don't disrupt ourselves, somebody else is going to do it. And it makes more sense for us to do. And the fourth bucket, I think, needless to say, all of us are experts. We have taxation experts, we have GST experts, we have accounting standard experts, correct? Each person has their own expertise. And last comes disrupting technologies, RPAs. How can RPA change the world? Am I doing something on that front? And automation be brought in. And a whole lot of these things are areas which we should be probably looking into. Google has a very interesting project. I just missed the name, where you can go and create your own sort of a AI program. It's a very simple thing. You just get into the Google's website and go configure, upload 5 images of yours and your friends, and you say this is mine and this is theirs, and sort of you can interact and compare, and that's how it is, right? And okay, interesting question, Praveen. What does a CA can do with Python? Okay, let me tell you. I think Venu sir is already answering that. Thanks, Venu sir. But let me tell you, my thoughts are very simple. Functional knowledge, technology knowledge. You are able to combine both. You become a fintech CA. You have functional knowledge. You know who can help you with the technology. You become a functional domain expert. You have only technical knowledge, you will still be controlled by somebody who can do it. So three things are equally important in the future. Equally important. The way the interplay between all the three is a question of time. And let us be very clear, we cannot be jack of all. We cannot be jack of all. You can go, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. No, invariably you will still be called that you can do only beyond a particular layer. You still have to get into the specialization. Correct? So what is it that we have to look into? And that's where we thought all of this. And the institute came up with this excellent thought process last year. How can we become a strategic, how can we become a virtual firm, and how can we start looking big? And that's where I had a very interesting opportunity to work on this guide along with CA Abdul Rafiq sir and a couple of other well wishers. We said that let's prepare a strategic roadmap to operate as a virtual firm. Because when you start operating as a virtual firm, you still do the traditional domain business, etc. But your mindset is expanding. You look beyond the normal things. You see whether can I go beyond the normalcy? Can I do certain things beyond the normal way in which I work? Can I bring in technology? When I can bring in my technology into my firm, can I not bring in that technology into the external world? And that is where the thought process coming in. Is there any application made using Python? I think it's endless. It is endless, and as I keep on telling, Python is just one example. You can go ahead and do your own. I'll give you a simple example. You can use a Python application and embed it into Excel because Excel now accepts Python as such. Okay. The question is, what is it that you want to do? Always remember, technology is there to solve a problem. Just because you have Python, don't go searching for what it is. I think the focus should be what is it that you can solve. And this is where I personally feel if you are developing any IT strategy, if you're developing anything, this is something which I would probably say are the core questions we need to ask. Very, very, very important. First, you can call it as an introspection session. You can call it of all of this. See, because the way I wanted to structure is there is enough of gyan about how to become virtual, how to become digital, etc. But the strategy part is where somewhere we are lacking. So therefore, I thought, let us see what are the key strategic issues which we have to look into. First, who are we as a firm? I am a firm with 40 years of legacy, 100 years of legacy. Fantastic. I have so much of specialization. Great. Am I going to still be relevant in the future? I keep on asking the same question to me. I do so much things on technology. I mean, at least I attempt to do it. Whether I'm successful or not, that's secondary because I'm enthusiastic in that space. I always question myself what will happen if tomorrow a robot takes over me? What is it that I can keep on adding value? And that is where you will grow the ladder. And please be prepared. Everything cannot be automated, I agree. But it will move towards a path of automation. So, what is it that we as a firm are looking at? Am I looking at, hey, will this be what I want to achieve? Is this where I want to reach out to? Right? So, a whole lot of things are totally dependent upon a case by case. Now, you are a firm who's specializing in income tax, GST, litigation. Fantastic. Now, what is the future? What is the future? Because this is what I was, in fact, making a opening comments, and much before the session started, I was just discussing with Praveen. I was saying that the way in which it is going on, the entire world is moving into a SaaS model. I'll give you a simple example. Last 3 to 5 years, you would have noticed Adobe has this version where if you want certain features, you go click it, it'll take you to the pricing tab. Much before, Adobe never had that concept. Why? Adobe was always a product which works. Adobe, we all know what is the role of Adobe, right? The typical PDF. Adobe was a product which one time license fee you buy it, you will get it for ever. The entire world started realizing that that model cannot work, and Adobe was somebody in 2015 or 14 they realized that, or maybe around that period plus, I may not be very accurate with that period, but roughly plus minus 2 to 3 years. And the moment they started moving into a SaaS based model, the growth in stock price moved by 3x. 3x. Why? That's the model in which revenue works. That means if I have to draw a clue from that, the future of a CA firm will be CAAS, CA as a service, finance as a service, GST as a service. So these compliance as a service. Now this is the model in which things will start coming in. And do not be surprised that somebody comes up with a model where they are actually coming on to do it. Correct? We keep hearing of ClearTax coming up with some certain fancy stuff. Whether it is great, not great, all those, these are pathway, there's an approach. And look what is happening on the regulatory front. Your income tax, your GST. Of course, we have had issues with portal. I'm not going to discuss on that because that's a wonderful coffee time discussion on a jovial note. These portals, the amount of information they gather and they're able to do it. Fintech models are built based on this. And tomorrow, do not be surprised that the government comes up with a fintech model based on this and credit scoring automatically gets generated. When that happens, the entire role of credit bureaus and investigation and all these fellows will disappear. Imagine that is linked with the banking system. Imagine that this gets further linked with your factoring, bill discounting system. Correct. And as part of CIA, I had made a recommendation to the government probably about 6 months to 1 year back, where an entire fintech model is perhaps possible. Do not be surprised, it is possible. It's a question of time. And the government is very clear. They have a strategic vision. See, there are a lot of operational difficulties. We have to address that. But this is where they want to go. Second question, what does my firm want to be known in the future for? Is it that, I want to be known as a specialist in A, B, C? Your choice. I was reading certain interesting, article on this Ministry of sorry, not NDTV, with the covering on certain things on corporate law changes and things like that. One of the things they made a mention was larger law firms revenue has almost doubled or tripled in the last 1 year. Very, very tiny advocates and all these folks, they're losing business. Why? These larger law firms, we know typically for representing, etc., they have a huge bill which they have to charge, travel, etc., etc. Now, because the court hearing becoming virtual, I repeat, court hearing becoming virtual, literally it has become a scenario where I switch on, finish one meeting, switch off, take 5 minutes break, and head into another hearing. Which means one advocate who was able to earn a revenue or perform an activity in a span of 1 day or 2 days or 4 days for one client is able to double the work, double the billing, faster case disposals. Tomorrow, if the court says, boss, let's have 70% everything digital or 90% digital, and that's already happening in our income tax. So, where is it that we want to be? What is my growth strategy? How do I look it up? You know, today people are looking for CAs, looking for professional consulting, all of them at one roof. So, can I be one stop solution for everything? Correct. Where do I want to be in the future, and am I going to be relevant in the future? So these are all questions from a strategic angle we need to ask. You might be thinking, sir, the Narasimhan sir is speaking on some superficial things which may not happen. See, my thought process is very simple. It may not happen in 5 years or 10 years, it may happen in 15 years. Correct. It is certain to happen, because this COVID has made us all realize the pace at which technology adoption and technology change can happen is extremely fast. And once you ask those four questions, what you notice on my screen, the fifth and sixth is what you need to do now. I repeat, the fifth and sixth is what you need to do. What needs to be done? And how do I get there? This is where your entire vision is. This is where your entire thought process is. You should know where you want to head into 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. Because perhaps our profession may become a model like Amazon, where we may work only based on volume and the margins are very thin. We need to survive with it. So a volume game will be able to do it, and that is possible only if we have automation and things like that. Perhaps instead of charging accounting fees on a monthly basis, we may have to charge accounting based on the volume, based on the transaction, per transaction billing. So these are new things which are probably coming up. I'm sure some of you have already gone ahead and attempted these things, and that's the evolution which we have to go into. And if I have to achieve this 5 and 6, the question now starts, what is it as a process I need to implement? What is it as a process I need to deliver? What is it that I use to reach my goal? And that is where your process 7 comes, question 7 comes. And 8, for that, what is the IT investment I require? How do I empower the firm? How do I get the confidence of employees? Today, as much as you train the staff on GST income tax, we also need to train them on technology, because that is the way in which we are able to Empower them. And the moment they are empowered, they themselves will realize that, hey, I can do this much better way in a more efficient way. Correct? So how are we going to be prepared to these times? So these are questions from a strategic angle we need to question and we need to address. And then comes my own office. What is it that I can identify? What are the areas which I can automate? Can I build in certain things? The answer is yes, it is possible. I can automate clients operations. It could be data, it could be just bringing a simple integration solution. How can I automate the regulatory compliances? And today we are all compelled to use our own IT in a different way. How can I make assurance more assuring, or how can I make compliance or consulting more assuring? How do I exchange data? I'm sure each of you have come up with very, very, very innovative models. Of course, a few of them I'll probably share it in the thought process, right? So let's look into our own office, what I can automate. Payroll and expense management is something which I can automate. Now you must be wondering, hey, I have to buy a software, I have to pay money for it. Very soon, SaaS-based open source solutions will come up. That's the future. Anyways, that's a way ahead. Let me talk about a simple solution, Razorpay X. A simple solution for you to calculate your salary. It'll calculate how much income tax payable, what is the due, free of cost. Of course, it's a promo, probably a little later they will charge. And the beauty what this company came up with is, they said, okay, I repeat, they said, we will also take care of your TDS, PF, ESI filing. If you just go visit this company's website, my dear friends, I'm just swapping screen. They come up with so many innovative options. Can we use these innovative options in rendering our business services? It may have a cost. That's something which you have to look into. I'll give you an example. Payment gateways, also we all know that payment links, pages, all these things are great. We already know that. Now, payment buttons is an interesting thing where for every transaction you create a unique payment link sort of a system. Instant settlement, all these things are same story. Now, route is another interesting thing. Now, this is something where you're collecting payments and you need to disperse to multiple people. Can you build in certain principles like this? Now, if I go into the banking space, they have another interesting things. Now, this is something which is very, very exciting for me, and that is Razorpay X and vendor payments. You can automate your vendor payments and TDS payments. They're able to bring an entire workflow. For instance, of course, they charge you. They charge you. Nothing is free, of course, right? They charge you 1 or 2 rupees per transaction and things like that. So how does this work? Basically, end-to-end automation, adding, tracking, clearing invoice and TDS payments. You upload the invoice, you track the invoice, you make the payments and automate. The best part is you upload, the details are automatically captured, including invoice number, etc. Correct? And of course, you can just go ahead and explore and see how these things work. Correct? You have to decide how much you need to invest into this, but that is exactly how it works. Correct? Now, let's say I pick up another example, Razorpay Payroll. Razorpay Payroll. Now, what does Razorpay Payroll does is, what it does is it is taking care of the entire compliances. Okay, it just adds a small amount of whatever is your compliance charges, everything including compliance charges. Here I'm referring to PFESI, whatever is there. Okay, most of us are rendering this as a service. It actually can work. That means what? If you're able to use these sort of newer innovations, you may probably be able to get much more interesting insights. So am I game for it to go ahead and give a try on those? Okay? So these are few examples just to give a perspective. Sorry. Yes, I think you're right. Perfect. Venugopal sir is saying that the concept of cloud. Now that's exactly why Microsoft 365 came in, right? They wanted to move into the cloud, and that is why eventually, over a point in time, Microsoft will have only cloud-based subscription. It is not going to have any sort of a yearly payout method. It's a question of time, correct? And that's where things are actually happening. Okay? Let's quickly come back to my presentation. That's something on the payroll expense. Timesheet, I think enough amount of discussion has happened on timesheet. We know it is important, we know it is, there are hundreds of tools available. I'm not going to discuss the features of each of those tools, but I think it's very critical for us to track time. And this is the only and very important, prepare any simple report based on those timesheets. Very critical, very critical. In fact, you will not believe it, there is this company called Kata Books. Kata Books is purely a layman's language of accounting. Layman's language of accounting. And typically single entry system. Now, based on that, Kata Books may probably charge a very minimal fee or whatever is there. Sometimes they don't even charge because it's all based on AI based engine. And based on that, credit profiling is happening. When credit profiling happens based on that, what happens? You can actually go ahead and grant loans. Today in the loan market, I'm just giving you as an example, in the loan market, there is anywhere a 3 to 5% processing fee involved, where a portion of it goes to the so-called consultants, debt syndication, advocates, whatever it is, the various players. Correct? Now, this is what Kata Books is trying to target. Now, people are getting an accounting service, they're also getting a credit profile and history. Correct? So these are the things which is coming up. Invoicing and data reconciliation. This is a major issue today. Correct? Now there is a company called Numbers, Numbers. You can go ahead and try Zoho Invoicing. Zoho Invoicing, by the way, is free. For those of you who are still using Excel or Word to invoice, please stop it. I think it doesn't make sense. Some of you may be using Tally. That's again your choice and comfort. You feel that accounting is taken care, or whatever methodology you're following. But imagine you giving your invoice in a professionally designed manner with predetermined templates and a lot of things. Zoho Invoice does that for you and it's for free. I'm always fascinated by this company, Zoho. The way in which they think of innovation, technology, and things like that. Coming back. Document management. Now, there are multi methods of document management, adding every transaction, linking the source and reference file. This is again a based rather than a software. I think it is a process, and this process you will get a comfort only after a point in time. It could be the way in which you're actually doing things. It could be the way in which things are actually happening, and it's over a point in time that maturity will come. Allocating task and tracking. There are tools available. I'm sure most of you are already using. There are a lot of open source tools available, including our own institute has got tie-up. It could be Papilio, it could be Simplify Practice, or it could be anything for that matter. Rolling out initial checklist. How many of us have a checklist the moment the clients have to get onboarded? It could be a Google form. It could be any simple structure. Can I build in some basic automation using that? You're saving a whole lot of time. Correct? Now you have to create your client into a portal and you have to fill up all this information. Can you link all of this? So my dear friends, these things are only going to evolve over a point in time. And not to forget backup. Have I taken adequate backup? Today, most of us still use that external hard disk based method. Can I have automated systems? Companies like Walton are just doing that. And I'm sure most of you are already using that. So I'm just talking from a conceptual thought process. Then comes a very, very interesting thing. Can I do automation of financial statement preparation? Have a standardized chart of accounts for 70 to 80% of the clients. It may probably help. Have an exception. Have a mapping structure with a simple SUMIF, and your financials are ready. Okay, you will think, sir, sole proprietary concern, I don't want to do that. Get started with everybody. Tomorrow you'll realize that it becomes, as a process, becomes very easy. Periodical reminders, configure into tools, configure into application. So there are a whole lot of things from a strategy angle that we can think on automation. Kaushik, you're absolutely right. There is no common place where all tools are available. I've been trying to attempt to do all these crazy stuff. And what I did was, in this guide which we came across, I have made page 91 of this particular guide, strategic roadmap. We speak of at least about 3 to 4 pages of all possible tools. It can keep on. Of course, this was made slightly, probably 6 months or 1 year before, and it will keep on updating. In fact, we can, as we can probably come across simple tools which we use in our own offices and try to make a collective study and release that to the public and say, hey, these are the tools available. If you guys are interested, if you have come across any more tools, just go ahead and share it. This is something which is there in my agenda for quite some time. I don't know, for some reason I've been missing and running over it. So let's look into the type of services which we do, and this is what we all of us do. We do process outsourcing, we do regulatory compliances, and significant portion of our revenue comes from these both. Audit and assurance is typically audits, consulting, and not to forget litigation. Correct. Now, look into each of these domains, identify stakeholders, and I would seriously suggest, if you're a fairly large firm, if you have multiple players involved, multiple partners involved in each of them, give a KPI for each of the partners on how you can use tech on this. That is the only way things will work. Give that as a KPI. You are giving a KPI, or you're having, I mean, I'm not saying give, it's a mutual discussion which you'll have to do. And if you're a smaller firm, I'll speak about the approach a little later. I'll speak about the Covey's matrix, which helps me take a decision lot many times. Correct. The matrix of what is most popularly called as urgent versus important. Correct. So what is my strategy when it comes to digital? First and foremost is a leadership. We as leaders, we need to get into this vision. We need to be innovative enough. We need to bring in that specialization element. We need to bring in the new models. This is something which is very critical. Once we as leaders are able to bring in, then comes talent. Bring in that organization culture. Bring in that attempt to digitize. And let me tell you, this is the most difficult thing. You may be convinced, but you may have your partner or your colleague who still feels that, my traditional setup is happy. Correct. So this is where unlearn, relearn, and learn has to happen. And most of us have started this process thanks to COVID. We need to sustain it. That is the most important. Consistency is something which is very critical. And then see how you can build in technology. A simple example which I always suggest clients: you always have Excel data coming into picture. I'm just giving one very simple example which I did. Every time I used to give one sort of a audit report from an information technology perspective: who is the department, which is the risk, what are all those things. Then one fine day, it just struck to me, why don't I give a dashboard, a simple dashboard? So I have an Excel, I have my audit report, which runs into probably, let's say, 30 or 40 or 50, whatever pages, depending on the observation. I gave them an Excel tracker, how, who, what is responsible. I simply built one pivot, 5 pivots, of course. I linked all the pivots, and I gave a simple graph, how you can do these things. Now, my dear friends, with that small thing, the client was so very enthusiastic. And the best part was, every time we send the report, there is somebody junior level in the client who's actually expected to go through that. Senior level fellow says, yes, sir, so much you have given, I don't have time. I just go through executive summary. But the moment I gave that as a small dashboard, with that fellow having an option to double click what department he wants with simple slicers I've just used, nothing beyond that. That gave the leader or the person on top, actually he was able to sense what is the problem. He was able to get a visualization. He was able to see things. And today, seeing is what you believe. Correct. I'm able to see something, I'm able to believe that. If I don't see that, I obviously have that, oh, something is there, etc. Correct. And I put it on the body of the email to make it even more attractive. Correct. Of course, he cannot do an interactive thing on the body of the email. It requires a lot of programming and other things. I don't want to go to that extent. I just made it a simple thing. And from the client end also, he had a better buy-in and an acceptance. So simple analytics things which you can build. How can I bring in automation? Data entry automation within our own offices. Correct. How can I bring that? In fact, to all my staff, what I've done is I have given them a couple of tips and hints. Any data which you're doing more than 250 line items or 200 odd bank line items, okay, and you are in your second year of articleship, you have to use a tool. No way you're sitting and manually entering it. Now, that's a simple example we started off. Now, this, where is it going to head into? They will be innovative enough to think that, hey, how can I use that? Why didn't I bring it in the first year? Obviously, we want them to have the basics right. So you might decide to do it in the third year. That's a question of your choice. Can I bring in RPA? No, RPA, if you feel is too complicated, I'll give you a simple solution. Microsoft has got a solution called Power Automate. Power Automate. Go ahead and explore that. Fantastic options to do basic things. You want to send tedious certificate to all the people, bulk email you have to send. Each of them should have an individual attachment. Go to Power Automate, you will get a ready-made program. Choose the folder, choose this, and go ahead. And it's for free, the basic version at least. Then you have to make some payment. Now, Microsoft wanted to disrupt the RPA industry. RPA itself is disruption. Microsoft said we'll come ahead and disrupt it because RPA was monopoly to some extent held by UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and there was one other company, sorry. 3-4 companies predominantly had it. Now, and all of these companies, you have to build a bot, you have to pay $1,000 to $2,000. This fellow said, why to pay that? I'll give it for everybody. And beyond that, if you want to do some services, I'll charge. Makes a whole lot of sense, correct? So that's where technology can come in. Then comes the process element. Can I improvise using technology? See, the biggest thing which I've realized as a challenge is consistency with people. They are not consistent with everything. But unfortunately or fortunately, every time you go to a McDonald's, the burger which you get is always consistent with the burger you get in a different store. Or perhaps the last time you had the burger and this time you had, more or less is consistent. Maybe they may use the same thing anyways. So it's more or less consistent. Why? Process driven by technology. Imagine in future, I have to come up with certain things where even my junior level staff is able to do it, and that is where your process comes into picture, and this is where your workflow goes a little more into depth. Start telling your staff, hey boss, everything is configured in the tool. Start from that and have an element where you additionally start thinking beyond it, correct? So that is where you bridge the gap, bring that consistency and continuous improvisation. Not to forget upskill. No, one of the foremost things you need to do when you come into my office, I make it as a practice. If you are appointed now, in a span of 1 week, I'll give you 3 online trainings. Everything is publicly available, sir. Everything is publicly available. Go ahead and learn these 3 to 4 things. I can share that to all the members. Very simple thing. It's just Excel courses which are available. It's just Excel courses which are available. I say compulsory you need to do, and they have live data and they teach it very really well. So I get a complete thing, because the moment you get that Excel training, it is not that I want them to use Excel. It is the mindset which I'm building into them, saying that, hey, this is how you need to look at things, correct? Next, how do I factor growth? How do I look into marketing? How do I look into business development? And especially after COVID, marketing and business development is something which all of us have to relook. And there is no one size which fits all, correct? How can I build an automation in marketing? These are plenty number of tools available. How many of us are fully utilizing the power of LinkedIn, correct? Most of our LinkedIn friend circle is only chartered accountants. Can we go beyond that? How do you want to position yourself? And this position yourself is something which I strategically took a call, not now, but at least 3 to 5 years back, for which I have some sort of a recognition as a person who understands some bit of technology in the market. This is something which has happened over a point in time. So this is where you need to position yourself and see where you can be a differentiator. In fact, I was just speaking slightly before this. I was telling, I do some bit of process review. I do some bit of internal audit. I give the typical findings. I give a tracker. I said, this is how you can fix it. Now, what I started doing recently is I started giving a demo of a simple solutions which can solve a problem. The moment I said, this is how you have to fix it, I also told them, this is the fixed solution for you as a prototype. Are you interested? Take up this as a product from so-and-so company, or go ahead and build it, or I use some bit of my colleagues or my friend circle, etc. I ask them to build a simple solution and say, hey, here is the macro driven solution, here is a tech driven solution. There is a very interesting company called Upwork.com. All of us are aware of it. Many of us as chartered accountants, or many of them would have told you can get a lot of free consultation from external world and things like that. You can, as a chartered accountant, go and enlist yourself. You can do foreign bookkeeping. I started using the same thing reverse. I said, I have a technology requirement, put it in Upwork.com and see if somebody is able to do it. And I told him, you build a small prototype, I'll give you a format, and maximum I'm using is this much amount of budget of my fees. If I don't invest and to some extent don't burn my fingers, I will never learn. So these are the things from a strategy perspective I have to look into. Again, you might be thinking, are we having a discussion on technology? Well, I'm having a more discussion on the future, how strategy can actually work. And that way I will over a point in time, because tools are plenty in numbers, sir. It is just go plug and play, get keep on getting started, and keep going. So after looking into all of these things, my biggest question is, abhi kya karna hai? Aim chase bro. Right? Identify the lowest hanging fruits. Simple. You have one client. You have that one client in your portfolio who fairly is very simple, standardized, and straightforward. Example: every month input comes, every month payment comes, every month data entry happens. Can I streamline this client? What is it that I can do to streamline? Very simple. Ad hoc payments of check, ad hoc payments of NEFT RTGS. Change every 10th day, 15th day, or every 10th, 20th, and 30th, or every 15th and 30th only payments will happen. Come what may, there's a process. Second, payments are all scattered. Make one simple Excel template. Invoice has to come here, it has to go there. Build in that culture. Bring that change. Bring that change. So step one is what? You brought in some consistency. Now you brought in that consistency for what? For all your payments, because payments is within your control. Correct? Now go one step ahead. Can you do it for another process, another client? Can you build this as an entire thing? Now, once all your clients are following the typical cycle, you know which is the time you're busy, which is the time you're free. Go ahead and repeat this process. Now that you have realized everybody are doing the same thing, can I build in a technology? Can I use a tool or simply use a software? Like I just showed you an example of a Razorpay, whatever is there. Don't want that also, sir. Build in a simple workflow solution. There's a lot of open source workflow solutions available. Step one, step two, step three. Everything is taken care. So identify the low hanging fruits. I'm just giving one as an example. Another example could be, how you are developing internal audit reports and giving that. Give something extra that will always bring in something new. It may give in new opportunities. And over a point in time, add it to current offerings. I'll give you one simple example how I did it. Whenever I used to do an audit on a particular domain, something outside the scope I used to give them. Something outside the scope I used to give them as this. And I used to give it in such a way, immediately they were able to implement it. To give an example, I had to audit revenue, I had to audit technology, whatever is there. My focus was never to do their information system audit. But I used to go that extra mile, and I used to say these are the issues and challenges which we noticed in your information system. It may be worthwhile you relook into it. Of course, I didn't give them the full card. I had to play my cards, right? So I didn't give them. So I gave them about 8 to 10 points, and those are critical. And I said, we'll be more than happy to offer other areas of assistance. And then, to my surprise, I did it for 4 clients. The fifth client is that, sir, thanks for notifying this. Can you do that also as a part of next to scope? Great. Add 10% to the existing fees. Small amount, correct? These are the things which you will keep on adding it. Next, offer freebies as I told you. Sell the new service. More important, look out for fresh client in that particular space. Get started with it. Now today, your RO says, have you evaluated lot of points? Now tomorrow, audit trail has become a mandatory requirement. First of all, can we gear up and see how we can provide consulting services in the space? Can we implement certain tools? Correct. Tool, obviously the service provider will be. Our solution is what? Accounting expertise. Technology somebody else is providing. We just have to give that accounting expertise. So can I get certain things new? And not to forget a few pricing and marketing strategies. Make your digital presence felt. Know to the world that your knowledge is beyond tax. Go beyond it. Go beyond taxation. For instance, something on succession planning, something on will. You may have expertise on. Go ahead for it. Or you feel that a simple small document in terms of simplifying finance, probably some advice on investment strategy, whatever it is, go ahead. Keep yourself updated and never forget the 80-20 rule. A client who gives you 80% of your revenue, of course one client will not be able to give you, a group of parties will be able to give you that. Focus on them, see whether can you add more into it. Unfortunately, we do all this for clients, we don't analyze our own balance sheet and P&L. Correct. Learn from competitors, peers, and juniors. I make it a point to, as a leadership capability or a style, that I want to give them the freedom. I set a framework, I set a tone. I say, boss, you go ahead beyond this. I will not interfere. but I will have to have a control at some point in time. Correct? So innovate and redesign these. Please keep updating your service. And this is something which I really, very, very nice. I recently came across. I recently came across this in one of the leadership strategy meetings. I keep listening, reading a lot of things. One of them made a mention every year or every 6 months, every year or every 6 months, update your firm profile, update your CV, update your firm profile, update your CV. Why? That is only when you realize what have you done, what is your growth plan, what is it that you have achieved. If you say, sir, 5 years back my CV and now my CV looks the same, yes or no? That's why I remember there was one, one funny instance. I think some person made a mention of this anecdote, which it went very strong into my mind. There was a person who had applied for a job who had 18 years of experience, and there was one other person who had about 3 to 4 years of experience. And this was given, they went through it. The person who had 5 years of experience was chosen compared to a person who had 18 years of experience. When they asked the simple thing, what have you done? He said, I have done 18 years of experience. Why have you not considered mine? So the interviewer simply said, sir, you have a lot of experience. We're not denying it. But if I bifurcate it, if I go to it, I realize that you have done 2 or 3 things maximum consistently over the 18 years. It is like doing one thing, repeating for 18 years. And that is something which is very, very, very massive. It doesn't scale, it doesn't work, because I am working in an environment which keeps on getting innovated. So I need people who are doing these things, and this is something as a pro tip you may probably want to consider. Update your firm of services, put in new jargons, put in new terminologies, group them together. The concept of the CFO service was never there, my dear friends. How it has become a big market strategy now. Correct? Now there is something called functional CFO. There is something called fraud risk assessment. Fraud risk assessment is something which I never heard of 5 years back. It is making a lot of noise. Internal financial control review. Package, put in some fancy terminologies, put it as a bundling of service. Of course, you should know who your target audience is, right? So these are few things which you can probably look into. Take the help of interns. I make it a point. Ask them to do something beyond their routine work. Ask them to do something beyond the routine work. Otherwise, every time GST upload, import, etc., same mistake they do, same problem they do, same comments from boss. Can you use them to do something better? A simple example: ask them to prepare 2 to 3 slides of your presentation. Ask them to prepare 3 to 4 topics for your audit report. Ask them to prepare a small note. No, I remember, I think Vivek sir had shared one very nice document. It was all his staff members, they were asked to write something. Vivek sir, with your permission, I'm sharing that. And it was a very nice PDF, 30 things or 40 things. I remember reading that on LinkedIn. That gave a lot of positive. Imagine the feel which creates with those interns. Hey, something I'm contributing to the firm. And that way they actually think, because one thing which I actually find is the newly qualified chartered accountants, beyond the taxation, GST, and whatever they've academically read, they are not able to articulate a few things. And that is something which I feel is lacking. These things can actually help them out. Follow Uber pricing. I keep on saying that. The later you come, charge them more. Publish milestones. This is something law firms have started doing much more extensively. Law firms are bound by so many ethical things, right? Whether they follow or not, I'm not going to discuss that. Correct? I've seen so many law firms, corporate law firms, they come forward and they keep publishing milestones. We were able to do this, we were able to do that. Okay, one of the interesting thing which I came across in a marketing strategy of the future is a concept called as case study. Go ahead and publish case studies of what problem you solved. Of course, with the client's consent, making anonymous disclosures, etc. Go ahead and publish that. Have a clause in your agreement, in your engagement letters. We may publish certain artifacts or make a mention that you are my clients with or without whatever those story. Go ahead and do it. That is how the rest of the world gets to know this is what you have done. And especially do it for innovative cases. Don't say I filed the income tax return of a person. Innovative, I'm sure each of us do every year one thing innovative. If you're not doing, I think it's time we really look into it, right? Embrace social media. Embrace social media. Use it extensively. Of course, do not forget our professional ethics. Sir. Please take care of that. Obtain regular feedback. Casually catch up with clients. Casually catch up with staff. Hey, what is it that I can do better? What is it that I can get much more visibility? What is it that I can actually get much better? And for those who want to get started from scratch, this is an excellent document called Digital Capability Maturity Model. And this measures your firm's digital maturity. In fact, this just came up 2 years back, where I and Guru Prasad sir, both of us had a opportunity to work on this very interesting publication, and we came up with a very nice implementation guide for the institute. Where if your score is bad, so what is this basically? It's basically a mechanism, and we are the first in the world as an institute. So that's something which all of us have to be happy about. We are the first in the world to come up with a maturity model to assess our own digitization. Okay, it came up in 2017. 2019 upgraded guide came up with. It gives you a minimum set of requirements which any firm can evaluate, self-assessment, to understand what is the level of technology, knowledge, and skill set all of us have. Correct? And this DCMM1 was the initial version. DCMM2 came up with something which is very, very important, discipline-specific categorization. If I want to become better in audit, what is it that I do? If I want to become better in tax, what is it that I do? If I want to become better in management consulting services, what is it that I can do? And last, how do I adopt emerging technologies? How do I adopt emerging technologies? All of us can start using artificial intelligence in our office. Oh, these are very fancy names. How do I do it? I'll show you a live illustration. Very, very simple. Just give me a minute. I'll just quickly navigate my screen and show it. This has to work in Excel, Zoom. All the three have some challenge. Just give me 1 minute. I should be able to do that. Please let me know if you're able to look into my spreadsheet.
Oh, yes, sir, it's visible.
Fantastic. Great. Okay, before I head into it, is the session going on with your thoughts and expectation, or am I sort of defeating the purpose, or have I gone completely off road? Any couple of thoughts, I can quickly take it, because we are about 1 hour done. If you're thinking that I want to cover only tools, that is there as a second part, because for me, the biggest thing is on the mind. Once mind is clear, tools will automatically.
Flow is going fantastic, Narasimhan.
Okay, now this, let me tell you, is my personal favorite. Recently, I've been using extensively. I've been using. The moment I get data, I've become lazy. Okay, I've become lazy. First thing what I'll do is first I'll go through the columns, what is there, what is the data content. I will to some extent format it, very basic formatting like date formatting, invoice number. Invoice number is a numerical field. I just make it as text field, whatever is there. Once I do this, there is one beautiful tab under home called analyze data. If you haven't explored, please explore it. Just click on this analyze data. Now what it does, my dear friends, it automatically analyzes the data for me. Such is the level of analysis. Sorry, I'm just going to delete this. This is an old data. Such is the level of analysis that I need not do any exercise today. The moment you look into the first question you'll ask is, boss, give me the sale of mobile phones by color. Click of a button, I got it. Gone are the days where I sit and drag all these things. Gone, sir. All old school. Do much more innovative. Now, this is where we can get started with a lot of these basic things. I'll go to the next example. Same thing. I want sales by amount, by product type. Click on this. It's over. Over. Click of a button. Gone are the days where I clicked and dragged. No, I want units sold by invoice number. Hey, what is that? Even I do not know. It is a useless thing because Excel believes that both of them can be relatable. Unfortunately, it is giving it. And this is where false positive and AI comes in. So we'll ignore that. Look at this. User ID SA accounts for majority of the sales amount. By just looking into this file, if you have to get started with this, see how much of a help it can do, my dear friends. So I'm just clicking and insert. What can I get this? More a little further, it shows me 7 results. Frequency of sales amount. This is something which is very exciting. I don't know how many of them do this analysis. I make it a point to do it. Divide. This is what is called exactly a histogram. Exactly a histogram. Histogram uses two-dimensional data. Here both of them are numeric. What you see below is a class interval, and this is something from a data analytics standpoint, statistical standpoint is very critical. I have converted my sales into a simple chart which gives sales range, and it gives me what is the number. Now here I easily get to know, my dear friends, what is the pattern, and this is automatically done by system. If you have to do it, it takes a whole lot of exercise. You can go ahead and do it, nothing wrong there. Of course, it has taken 40,000 as a class interval automatically. Sir, can I have here 10,000 class interval? Here I have 50,000 class interval here. Can I have 80,000 class interval here? That is not possible. That you have to use an analytics software. But this is something Excel can do. Now imagine if you have to do audit sampling based on this, how much time you're going to save, correct? Can I do it for frequency of units sold? Look at this. Most of the cases, people are, one or two mobile phones have been sold per transaction. But as far as transaction 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 and 5 is something like this. Right? All of this, my dear friends, is pre-decided, and this is not the end of it. My personal favorite is this, which is called as conversational analytics. I want any question, I'm able to type, I'll get the answer. Give me total sales amount for region. Look at this. It, in fact, it's a very simple thing. You just have to use a commonly understandable field and write any basic exceptions you want. For example, I want only this total sales amount by region. Correct? So it is already be able to give me those things. And you have a bunch of these entire things. Sort invoice number by total sales. How many different colors are there? 9 distinct colors are there. Now, are we spending time into? No. And did I get so many options the first time I started using this Excel sheet? The answer is no. Excel got better day by day. And that's exactly what Office 365 is. Now, for example, which is the most common color? Rainbow color is 775 sales have taken place. Or on the contrary, what is the percentage of total sales by region? Here it is. You name anything, you'll be able to get, but of course it will take some time. You can say, give me the total sales, okay? Give me the total sales for each month. If this has to happen, this is where Excel will start taking a little while, but it has actually given me this. Look at this. Click on the button, I get it. Look at the beautiful way. And the beauty is, they have automatically written a sum if formula for you, my dear friend. It's written here. Are you able to notice this? It is automatically doing these things. Now just go ahead and modify it. See, gone are the days where we said, he who knows huge formula is a wizard, he who knows. Today, things are becoming lazier by the day. Let us use the technology to our advantage. I'm serious. Correct? And the sky is the limit what we can think of. Of course, everything will the answer give? No. Do I have to do some bit of validation? The answer is yes. Don't give this to your first year article staff. They will never learn audit. Give this to your audit managers who are already pressurized, who are already working under so many things, correct? And this is where simple things of AI can come into picture. Correct? So I hope this is interesting value add. And this comes only when you change your perspective. If you're stuck to the same method, correct? Moving quickly. So what is this DCM 2.2? I think I'll make a quick reference. I don't want to go into the depth of it. This is just for those of you. The section A, because whenever we want to mature, we always want to have some framework. Otherwise, it's pointless. We do audit based on auditing guidelines. We do tax based on taxation guidelines. When we want to mature, we should have some guidelines, right? So this is a classical example. Right? So that's something from a DCMM. I think that's right, Vivek sir. Okay, coming back. So, level of automation of firm's internal process is section A. This talks about various things: billing, document management, client relationship management, staff attendance, work tracking. The list is endless. Okay. My suggestion is go ahead and try that Zoho invoice. Those of you who are filing hesitation in for, always you're using Microsoft Word or Excel for invoicing, just to try that Zoho invoicer. So simple it is. So simple. I'm just giving Zoho Invoice as an example. There are three, four invoicing free software, but just that, they are based out of India. They're GDPR compliant, which means your data privacy is taken really seriously. And I've had the opportunity to audit or, look a little in depth into their process. That's the only reason, because it's a small community, I'm just sharing my views of that. Yeah. Section B is on qualified resource pool, talent development, etc. And the last section is discipline specific categorization. When I use the word discipline specific, as I told you, what are the domains? And then adaptation of advanced and emerging technologies. And you, as end result of this, you get is a level 1, level 2, level 3 firm. You yourself can realize where your maturity is, what you've done, what you've not done. This is coupled with an implementation guide. Again, I'm going to quickly run through these because for the interest of time. These, my dear friends, have a lot of things from an implementation standpoint. They have a lot of practical based suggestions and tips which you may want to consider and use that. And what is it that you do with this? Simple: benchmark, you plan your initiatives, you identify resources and execute the plan, assess your progress regularly, and do a sort of a peer review. Ask colleagues to come forward and sort of do it. We can probably do one sort of a, I'll tell you, one benchmarking report within our own weekend. Because see, this is a small community and we are probably about 30 to 50 odd members who are actively going through all of these things. Even though we have a large base, why don't we get started with simple things? Hey, how I do in my office, how you do in office, can we share that? Can we bring up an SOP? Can we bring in a consistency? My dear friends, longer run, this will save a lot of time for all of us. Because we as partners, we as the head of firms have to look into strategy of the firm. Operational part, their enemies or colleagues who are looking into it. Or you may probably be only the strategy person and the other set of people who are looking into the day-to-day operations. Correct? And this is all how you will mature over a point in time. But now comes the biggest question. My time is limited. How do I prioritize? Whatever it is, my time is limited. How do I prioritize? And this is something where I realized prioritization is based on the value. Prioritization is based on value. What is it that I'm giving a value addition? What is it that I'm doing extra? It is all based on value. And for this, please understand urgent and important. These are very, very important things. And this is where your Stephen Covey matrix is fantastic and very, 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 very relevant. I know I'm talking a little on management subject, even though you thought it is a technology topic, but I wanted to focus on that because I am focusing on your mind and the skill set. Tools, there are hundreds of things we can keep on talking, correct? I wanted to focus on the mindset. And to that extent, my presentation may be overemphasizing on strategy. I am happy with that. I'll be always happy to, probably look into tools exclusively as a separate session, but of course, it is covered as a part of it. Let's see. This is my favorite. Why? Anything within this four matrix we can fit in. Those things which are very, very urgent and very, very important, only you should do it. Please note, there cannot be a rule for urgency, rule for importance. It's all based upon your comfort, based on your past experience. That which is urgent, that which is important, only you can do it. Now, second, that which is important, but it is not urgent. I repeat, it is important, it is not urgent. Schedule it, meaning decide when to do. Decide when to do. I know a backup solution is important for my office. I know it is important, but it is not like tomorrow only I require a backup. Unless there is some sort of an issue, then yes. So then schedule it. I know that this is a firm profile I need to prepare of mine. It is important, but it is not urgent. Schedule it. But important, target. Correct? You can see a small sort of a board where things have been written. You may have a book, daily, whatever it is, your mechanism. Target and That which is very, very urgent but not important, this is where we get lost. Priority one and priority three, as far as this box is concerned, a box is concerned, and as such, it is a priority. Why? Most of us get lost in between priority one and three. In fact, we replace both of them. Something which is very, very, very urgent. Client calls up, sir, urgent chahiye, this chahiye. But is it that very important that you only has to do it? You only have to do it. If the answer is yes, it comes under priority one, you take a call. If it is not that very important, please note importance is again not a rule based, it is your thought process, experience, past behavior. Delegate it. I repeat, delegate it, delegate it, delegate it. I'll give you a simple example. I knew that I had this presentation. I knew that I had this presentation. I had a week's time. Or whenever Praveen sir gave me the intimation. What I did was I brought in a few thoughts and I put it into a presentation. Okay. And I gave time for my intern, my colleague, to sort of compile all of these, and I gave a rough agenda. Which he did it. Correct? Because for the last week, it was not a priority for me. Whereas today it is a priority. So I happen to spend a couple of hours on this presentation today. So see the way in which the matrix changes. So something which is urgent, something which is not important, please decide where it is priority. Last, not urgent, not priority, or not urgent, not important. Keep it away. Keep it away. Netflix new series, not important. Netflix new series, not urgent. Decide. But never, it doesn't mean that you never look into priority for it. You have to look into it. Right? You may have to still look into it. There's obviously a conflicting thing which we'll open up. Vivek sir, you want to share your couple of thoughts? Feel free. Again, I don't want to make it a monologue. Feel free to share in your thoughts, your experience. I mean, just give Vivek sir as an example because he just dropped a message in the chat window. Others also feel free.
Thanks. No, this matrix is something which is so interesting, and every time we look into this matrix, you get more maturity. I was always trying to look at priority number one, and then I realized that priority number one is actually not a priority number one because it always gets done. It forces you. Every day in the morning, it's a firefighting. Today it has to happen. Today, as I said, tomorrow, if I have a session, I will sit down and do it for the session. No doubt about it, I will do it. I'm forced to do it. But what happens is, why it became a priority number one is because I had neglected 1 week back, 10 days back, I neglected it. I knew it was important for me to take a session 1 week from now, but I neglected it, and that became urgent. So that's how in life what happens is, because anything when we do in urgent, we just try to complete it off. Some or the other, we need to complete it off. But if we focus on the priority number two, what is mentioned, that box number two, important and not urgent, that's so important because that is what we are looking at, the future of our organization. What needs to be done? We know technology development is important for us. We know it is for 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, but it is not required today. So what happens is, being human beings, we procrastinated tomorrow, and
Absolutely.
then 1 year down the line, we would have achieved that. So if we start focusing upon that box, if we discipline ourselves, we'll always be future ready. And the growth is very high if we focus upon that box.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, sir, for sharing those thoughts. Anybody else want to bring in your thoughts at this point in time? Venkatesh sir, Praveen sir, Venugopal sir, Srinivas sir, sorry.
See, I definitely endorse what Vivek is saying. If in a day, if we look at how much time we are spending in of all the 4 boxes, and maybe using any of the tools, maybe desk time, whatever the tools, if we have a clarity on how do we increase my time from priority 1, priority 3 to priority 2, definitely we are working towards future ready is what I would agree.
Fantastic. Thank you. So one thing which you will not believe this. I read this matrix few years back. At that point of time, it was something nice to have. But when recently I re-looked into it, I was able to relate so many things. So that is when you realize, my sir used to always mention, whenever I read a section in income tax, every time it looks new to me. I said, sir, last time you didn't read it properly. That's why it is, on a jovial note. But then I realized this is the fundamental principle of life. Everything you read and do is so contextual. Just because you've had an experience in the last 3 months, 6 months, the way in which you look into the same slide as 3 months down the lane, 6 months down the lane, 1 year down the lane will change. Correct? Now, the same slide, a few of you will be thinking, "Arey, what is there in this priority 1, 2, 3, 4?" Probably when tomorrow you become overburdened with so much of work, so much of things, you have to really decide what to say no, what to say yes. Correct? And this is something which I keep on constantly thinking. Somebody gives me a call, sir, I'm requesting you to make a presentation. So earlier, of course, during lockdown last year, I used to say, sir, let's go ahead, because obviously there was a need of the hour. And that time all clients were also figuring out what to do, etc. So I said, okay, I have some time. But today also that thing happens. I said clearly, no, sir, 1 month I cannot do, 1 week I cannot do. I clearly schedule things. So this is simply an example where I myself have realized that I have matured over a point in time. And that is the same example like whatever Vivek sir said or Venugopal sir said. And that's something which we have to all be able to relate it. Yes, I think I've spoken on this. I'm not going to spend time into this. And one more interesting thing. Oftentimes we don't assess the bandwidth. How, if I've identified some problem, this is going one level into the detail of it. I've identified an issue. What is the time required for fixing it? What is the resource required and what is the vendor? You'll be surprised. This idea stuck to me when my office internet stopped working. When my office internet stopped working. See, obviously you cannot say that, sir, I have BC Play, I have additional internet connection. We had it, but obviously it will not work in the internet purpose. And coincidentally, that day my second internet connection also stopped. But okay, my business disruption time was very small. I was still okay with it. But that is when I thought, for every gap which I notice or every problem I identify, what is the priority of mine fixing it? Because on the same day, I had to get a major deliverable done. And I knew if I do not fix the internet, three of my colleague resources perhaps may not be able to deliver that whatever is the required information. Now I had to weigh it. I simply use the priority matrix. If my colleagues are not working for 3 hours or 4 hours, I simply said, hey, just go enjoy, take a half day break, whatever it is, or I asked them to do some research and I came back. But for me, those 3 hours are very important because I had a client deliverable. And I don't want to issue it without my review or whatever it is. Correct? So that is where your firm priority comes in. That is where your resources, that is where various things comes into picture. So based on that, coincidentally I was developing that. I just try to relate it and sort of take it further. One interesting thing when it comes to technology, not to forget, we always think of doing something on your own. It could be as simple as asking your employees to bring your own policy. Now this is something which I realized from a strategy perspective and from a thought process perspective. Bring your own ideas, bring your own lunch, bring your own system. And this is where you need to, as an organization, be collaborative and bring this. It could be as simple as your assets which you want to bring through. It could be as simple as the thought process which you have to bring through. Now, for instance, most of us have been asking our employees to carry on our own assets. Question is, do you have a control over that asset? Now, those of you are very small organizations, you have probably 10, 15 members, etc. There's a very interesting software by name Manage Engine, okay, by Zoho or Zoho sister concern, whatever. It's a tool by Manage Engine. I have noticed the largest of the listed companies and smallest of the companies use this. They have an endpoint system where any mischief somebody does it, you're able to track it. In a work from home culture, it makes a lot of sense. Correct? We are dealing with a lot of confidential information, which means you need to bring in that sort of system and culture. It could be something on the tool, it could be something on some simple devices. It could be, let's say, they are using their own office laptops while connecting to the Wi-Fi of the office. Is there some control? Is there some sort of security? Is there some sort of a regular audits? So these are typical thoughts which came up, in terms of BYOD policy. And since most of them have that, I thought I will include as a part of the strategy. And this is where any innovation you bring in from a technology standpoint, always look into the risk and there are solutions available for it. Correct? So that's just to bring you a perspective on that. So what's the typical roadmap for adoption? I think I've spoken enough on this. First is strategy. I think we have covered that's on the mindset. Then is the skill set. Somebody was messaging, is Python a necessary skill? How do I make sure I obtain that? Those are all roadmaps which you have to define. Right? And last but not the least, the tool set. How do I leverage on the tools? And that's of course what I want to spend some time on it. Correct? So what is that typical tool sets which you can use? I'm not going to discuss on why technology. I think all of us we have understood. We need to catch up the trend. That's the need of the hours. So what are the essential tools for every profession? First, I feel that today's terms practice management solution is very important. You can have it in an Excel sheet, you can have it in a tool, choice is yours. Tracking task, recording time, attendance, billing, all of this requires a practice management solution. It could be a very simple thing, but they have solutions available. Correct? Document management system, archival, backup, more importantly is access restriction. Then is your communication tools, internal communication, client communication, etc. If you have a system where everything you're communicating on WhatsApp, I think you have to seriously look into it. Just change the way in which it has been done. Just change the way in which it has been done. Use a software like Click, CLIQ, Click, or I think there's one more called Slack. Go ahead and use that. Some of them are paid, some of them are free. You can ensure that communication is restricted and strictly avoid sharing data on WhatsApp. It could be files, it could be data, it could be task management. Unless of course you have an emergency follow-up, you can go ahead and do it. I make it a point that I don't follow up anything on WhatsApp. And none of the clients, I ask them to, even if they send, I say, sir, I will not read it if you send it to me on WhatsApp. And that is something sort of spoiling the culture. So please take care of that. Next, collaboration and productivity, sharing of files, spreadsheets, word processing. Many of them think, sir, I do not have so much budget for Word, Excel, etc. So those are things which you should probably look into it. There are open source solutions available. For example, openoffice.org. You can go and download Word, Excel for free. It's not called as Word, Excel. They call it as Docs and some other spreadsheet, something. So it's for free. Or if you're always connected over the internet, go ahead and use Microsoft 365. Go ahead and use Google Suite. Correct? Branding and marketing, website. What is your email campaign? Correct? What is your emails which you're sending across? Do you have campaigns? Have you done webinars? Go ahead and do it. I came across one recently. I mean, this is a little on the spiritual side. One of these spiritual organizations was organizing discourses exactly for, it's for free, it's for free, exactly per batch 100 members, and they will take only for 40 minutes. I was thinking, why 40 minutes? Why not 45 minutes? Why not 1 hour? I mean, just on a jovial note. Then I realized they're using Zoom app, which is for free, which is exactly for 40 minutes. You will not believe it, the number of registrations for that spiritual, whatever it is. It was a Bhagavad Gita session where my mother wanted to attend. I just went ahead and registered. The number of registrations, the moment they opened it, almost all the slots got filled within 2 days. Of course, there are a good number of people for everything and there's a market for it. I'm just trying to think how it works. Remote working tools. This is need of the hour. It could be screen sharing, video calling, web meetings. Please have these tools. Okay. And those of you who are using AnyDesk, I would seriously ask you to introspect the policy of using AnyDesk. Why? Because AnyDesk commercial usage is not permitted. Just please look it up. Okay. You can use certain tools in our office. We use again, we've used this entire Zoho suite. It becomes easy for us. One place I get all the solutions. Just go ahead and use it. So I use Zoho Assist or something, which is a simple solution which can solve the problem. Okay? And domain specific, accounting automation, audit automation, compliance automation, and the list keeps on growing. I think I spoke on this framework. I don't want to reiterate it. So what are a few examples of tools? Again, I'll quickly run past through these tools. I'm not going to give you any live demos because there are hundreds of videos flooded, especially in the last 1.5 years. There are so many sessions and so many recordings which are available. And today we have lost track. Okay, somebody gives a demo, like, oh, you have to spend 30 minutes, right? So I think that's the mindset which is there. But I'll speak about what are the basic tools which are necessary and how do I make importance out of it? What are the mistakes we do? What are the mistakes we do? First, desktop and laptop computers, one of which can also act as a server. Now this desktop, please ensure you have a fairly powerful desktop, even if you are doing a even if you are doing sort of how do I put it, a cloud-based or whatever it is, you still have some amount of data which is stored in your office. Even at least for your Tally server you'll require, right? So here is my suggestion. Whichever desktop, I mean, one option is you go for a typical server grade system, or the other option is you buy a peer-to-peer computer, which is just like any other computer, and upskill it, or upgrade it, or put in more RAM. So here is my couple of tips. First, whichever is your centralized server, use a SDD hard disk and not a HDD hard disk. Solid state hard disk versus a normal hard disk. A solid state hard disk does not rotate, so that means it's solid, as the name suggests. Its processing capability is extremely fast and highly recommended, especially for your server. If you want your entire server to be SSD, that's your choice. But at least the operating system and the basic functionalities put it into SSD. That can save a whole lot of time, make it much more faster for you. Second, ensure the predominant server or the system which you are using, please ensure the RAM is extremely worthy of mentioning. At least an 8 GB RAM is something necessary, the amount of data we deal with, correct? So 8 GB RAM bare minimum. Your laptop computers, I will leave it to your choice. At least of 2 to 4 GB has become more or less essential today. And in terms of storage, your server at least 5 TB or 1 TB to 5 TB depending on your size. Your individual laptops, you can go ahead and decide. If you are connected, you obviously require a network and LAN switch. Needless to say what it is. Firewall, many of them ask them. I will leave that option to you. There are multiple types of firewall. Option number one, a firewall which is a physical device which connects the internal and the external world. Second option is basically a firewall at each of the application, which is typically a host-based application firewall, network-based and host-based. Okay, so I leave that choice to you. But when do you think you need a firewall? That is a question you have to answer. Whenever you are accessing the external, from an external world, your internal network. Repeat, whenever you are accessing from an external world, the internal network, firewall is mandatory. Okay, which means some of us have VPN in our office already set up. Please ensure you have a firewall in place. Unless that VPN uses a very, very secure communication tunnel, which you may have to go to the depth of the security and audit it. Now, I will give an example. You're using AnyDesk, so what do I do? AnyDesk to some extent control is still within us, correct? And somebody else on the other end has to accept. When you set up a VPN, there is no person who has to accept on the other end. It is more or less like, unattended sort of an access. So that is where you need to be very, very cautious, which is permitted, which is not permitted. Right? Okay, interesting question. Normally SSD drives are not in terabytes. On laptops, I still seen a 512, but HDD you get 1 TB. For servers, you get TB based on SSD. It is possible. Alternatively, you may have to buy 2 SSDs. But 512 GB SSD is a terrific thing for typical systems. It is possible, sir. It will have some amount of extra cost, but it is possible. Okay, Microsoft Windows license, highly recommended. Please ensure you have, legitimate permitted licenses. And it should not be home edition. It should be professional edition, because professional is what is accepted for commercial usage. Please ensure the servers at least are, very high enterprise grade. Remember, we invest in our office infrastructure. We invest in our seating, chairs, furniture. We need to invest in technology. Simple. Productivity applications such as Microsoft Office. I think Vivek just dropped a message also, it is as low as 125 rupees per month per user. It's like, probably close to a price of petrol per liter, as he rightly said. Open source productivity applications you can use. I told you OpenOffice is one very good application. Go ahead and use it, because if you feel that, I cannot invest in all computers having license, please go ahead. Not to forget your accounting, tax, compliance solutions. Antivirus. Now, most of us have antivirus software. Great. But the problem is nobody monitors that software. So my suggestion is pick up a SMB, small medium business license of an antivirus software. The same features you will get maybe 100, 200 rupees extra. But what it will give you is, it will give you a centralized console. What that centralized console will do is entire network you'll get a visibility, even if they're working from home, etc. What is the position? You will get one sort of a small alert, and you can configure it to your email. Automatically alerts will come. Or if you feel that you have a slightly bigger budget, you can go for EDR, endpoint detection response tools. They're also available. Trend Micro charges about 1,000 or 1,500 per end user, or even up to 3,000 rupees it goes. But I think it's worthwhile from considering the cyber risks and other things. And one very, very important, in all your office computers, disable administrator rights. Very important rule, because most of these unfortunate ransomware and other attacks takes place through this. Okay, so if you have an administrator access, please ensure you disable it. Inform them if you feel that it is necessary, but have a control over it. Regular software patches, email ID, etc. Those are needless to say. And from our office angle, what are the things which we can speak on tools and adoption? Quickly running through them. Accounting automation, see where if you can use macros, Excel spreadsheets, try to see, where tasks are repetitive, ROC documentation. ROC, lot of things you can do through macros. Simple format structure, just replace. I've seen, I myself forget about in using macros. For our ROC, DIR compliance and whatever that MGT7, all those things, more or less format is same. I've created a master list, update that master list, all the information changes. So simple it is. OCR, optical character recognition, you can go ahead and give your try on that. There are a lot of things which keeps on working, doesn't work, and things like that. Next is your legacy approach, where you use certain tools, APIs. For example, ClearTax builds an API. See whether you can integrate your API with these tools and do much more. Correct. So these are all common automation choices which you can probably consider. And not to forget, there are a lot of interesting things which is coming up. Cloud accounting is coming up. Go ahead and please give it a try for free of your clients. There's a lot of contextual integration. Sorry. I think it was by mistake. Okay. Contextual integration, where a lot of apps coming up with certain integration facilities. Connected banking, there's something which surprised me. Make a payment through a cloud accounting software, pass a payment entry, automatically payment gets deducted from bank. I repeat, automatically payment gets deducted from bank. Zoho is offering that. You can go ahead and give it a try. Voice interface automation and things are obviously needless to say. This is my personal favorite, especially in a very, very layman's language. If I want to go ahead, code, or forget about coding and other things, I want to bring an Excel sheet into Tally. Simple solution. Windsor Infotech, those of you who heard of Rafiq sir, he has this wonderful product. Simple format, bring it into context, push it. I have a payroll, push it. Format, push it. I have a data entry bank statement, push it. You will take some amount of time to categorize it, but it saves a whole lot of time. Zoho Books, I think I've been speaking of. I don't want to spend too much time into it. Okay, by the way, let me, before I forget, Zoho Books is giving the entire suite for free for 3 years. And this is worth almost to 2.5 lakh rupees or something. And they're giving that entire highest package. One option, you pick it up, go ahead and explore that for your own office, or go ahead and use it for your client, your choice. It is for free for 3 years. Go ahead and explore that. Okay, and they're coming up with a lot of interesting features as well. I don't want to go into these details. Again, see if you want to build in certain RPA tools, into your practice. This is one simple bot which is probably doing certain things. Let me see, how this works. It's Zapier.io, which is basically doing some sort of an automation where a flowchart is given, and the moment you click on start, correct, I've kept my Tally open. I've also kept my Excel spreadsheet open. So I open my vouchers, and I also open my Excel sheet where data is there, and I just go click and start, which you can notice it is starting, it is reading it, and it is executing in slow. Correct. Automatically, it is passing the entries as though as a human being I'm passing it. This is just to give you a feel of how a RPA solution works. Is this the only solution? Hundreds of methods are there. I'm just giving you one example for a look and feel of this entire thing. Correct. So it will keep on passing these entries, and receive whatever models is there. It will go and do it. Of course, you cannot use the system when the system is passing those entries. Okay, and Excel analytics, I'm not going to show you. We are all been using it. I gave you one example of using AI in Excel. ECAT is another tool which can bring in a lot of analytics into Excel. There's another TCAT solution which is possible. So I left to how you want to go ahead and use that. Compliance automation, I think this is an endless list. We have data storage, monitoring, assigning. Your practice management solutions can actually give a lot of things, which can give you a simple workflow, reminders, alerts, regulatory compliance, tracking digital signatures, internal task tracking. And since this is something which has been commonly spoken, I'm not going to discuss. Few of the practice management solutions, Papilio and Simplify Practice have a tie-up with ICAI. Again, I don't want to jump into those things into the depth of it. Non-audit automation, see how you can use analytics, how you can use it for due diligence, M&A, and things like that. This is a very interesting company called Veratech. It gives you ROC search report powered by artificial intelligence, formats it nicely, and gives you to a very big project report. They charge about 5,000 to 10,000 per project, and they give you an editable version. So probably go give it a try. Something I recently came across, something which is working really nice. I've been using it, Insta Financials. Go ahead, so, pay, let's say maybe, you pay a little more than the normal. And I wanted to understand a particular company's profile, and it gave me a beautiful report like this. Everything, company highlights, financial highlights, schedule breakup, financials, ratio, auditor, all this. And it also gave me certain interesting, if I go click on the law, give me a legal report. It did a lot of interesting analysis on court cases pending and, a lot of things. Of course, they might be having some public database from which they're pulling the information, but it was quite fascinating. I personally loved it. And in fact, I started using it, and it was very affordable, 1,000 to 2,000 rupees. I was able to get very nice set of reports. And of course, I improvised further on that. I think Power BI, we've spoken enough about it. Dashboarding solutions, what is possible, double click them, customize the period, click on any of them you want, branch, client, go ahead and sort of build those sort of solutions. It's also available over mobile phone for you to go ahead and explore. So these are things which is typically there, right? Sorry, I see a couple of things. Okay, so I come into a couple of specific questions maybe towards the end. The last section which I want to probably make a mention is your business continuity plan and a disaster recovery plan. How do I sort of plan that? See, whenever you're talking about a BCP or a DR, few key principles is ensuring certain resources are always available. It should have a high availability. That's the first thing. Second, operations have to be continuous, at least the key operations. And do we have an alternate process? And for that, there are a lot of things from strategy, structure, data, process, technology, and facilities. This is all theory. But how do I get started? It all starts on having a backup. And what is the backup and how effective is your backing up strategy? Please look into it. Many of them say, sir, I've stored everything on Google Drive using the Google Desktop Sync. There was a recent case where one of the CA officers, one of the employees' system was impacted. Ransomware encrypted that employee's laptop, including the Google Drive. Through that, Google Drive thought that the file had updated. The drive.google.com got encrypted. From drive.google.com, it got downloaded into another colleague's, and like that, it kept on happening. So the entire organization, even though they were not connected over network, through internet and Google Drive backup and sync, they got it. Now, can I go restore? You have to go to every file, right click and restore it. That's a problem, correct? So those are something you have to understand. See whether your records are accurate, and please be prepared for the worst. These are things which are happening. I think we have to be very, very clear with that. Again, these are all general GAN, which I don't want to spend too much time on it. Few things which you have to understand from a backup strategy and data recovery is obviously important. I think we're clear. Real time versus back. Real time, I don't think is possible in all of our offices because you can't expect like a typical banking sort of a setup. But at least I would suggest on a daily, weekly twice, or once a week based on your approach. Concept of sync versus backup, I clarified. Google OneDrive is not backup, it is sync. And of course, please ensure you have one version of the location of your office. Don't say I have a storage area network and that's where I'm keeping it. The risk is that both your data is still in the same place. Unfortunate incident happens, you still have a exposure. These are solutions. Walton is my personal favorite. I think most of you are using it within our community as well. You can go ahead and give it a try. There are other options available, like what you notice on the screen. They push the data onto the cloud. So how do I gear up for the new challenge? What is the key thing which I want to do? First, I think we all need to identify the need, whether it could be technology, whether it could be automation, whether it's moving further. Explore and research more. Explore and research more. And once you do that, test it before you give any sort of a commitment. Develop a standardized process, measure the results, and I think you will have things much handy. And as I always keep on thinking, and this is something which has revolutionized the startup world, I'm sure that will also happen. The world's biggest problems are the world's biggest opportunities. I think if you start looking into it, the world of opportunities come into picture. On that note, Thank you so much for very, very patient hearing. I hope I was able to address at least a few of the questions and thoughts most of you had. And I'm sure I spoke a lot on strategy, less on tools, because that's how I wanted to position it. Because tools are just a click of a button away. I can give you sort of annexures and sheets which are available. We can sort of share it, or probably with Vintage Babu sir, or all of your suggestions. We can try to work out one small team saying that let's do a small survey. Which are the tools you use? What is the pro and con you've noticed, and things like that. So that way we will also mature over a point in time. And I'm happy for you.
Sir, I think we've answered all the questions which were posted. Members, any other questions you would like to raise?
Karthik, I think there were two questions. One is Praveen has asked, how do you get this presentation so beautiful? Whether you use some tool for that. Okay. So Narasimhan can throw some light on that.
Sir, presentation so beautiful. I just use that design ideas in Excel. Sorry, sorry, beg your pardon, on PowerPoint. What I do is, just for an example, I think my screen is visible.
Yes.
I just go here. Any topic which I want to choose, the first thing I do is choose a layout. And the moment I choose a layout, I start typing what is my facts. For example, how to beautify your PPT. Correct. First step is be lazy. Second step, just joking. But yeah, the moment you put in the stars, I click on this design ideas. This helps me a lot.
Okay.
Now look at this. I did nothing. Automatically I got it. Now, if you type the same thing in your PPT, you will not get this.
Okay.
Why? Because it is an AI which has to be programmed, which takes a lot of time. So the more and more I use it, it gives more. On a very, very jovial note, I'll tell you, one of the presentations I was making, I had to mention one of the words I just mentioned was change. Change, that's all. Change your process thinking, etc. You'll be surprised. I got an image of a person changing a baby's diaper. Okay. And unfortunately, what I did was, I did not notice that when I went to the live presentation.
Oh.
Luckily, I was smart enough to notice during the previous. I just went back and I sort of clicked delete or something. I just managed it. These are tricky things. You have to be very, very careful. So don't trust artificial intelligence blindly. That is on one side of the story. But more importantly, what I think is this solves a lot of your normal set of things.
And I think Veena has answered. Veena had asked a question: any good software, detailed task and time management?
I think you can use, I think Deskime is there, Clockify is there, Pepilio is good. You also have a lot of open source tools like one of the things which I came across is a couple of tools along with accounting, they can also help you track tasks, track time. So these are all interesting things. In Zoho Books also there is a time tracker. You can go ahead and give it a try.
Okay. And Narasimhan, you said that Zoho Suite, you said it's free. Is it true?
Yes, sir. Sir, Zoho Suite, committee of members in industry, you have to visit their website. There is a link where you will get it for free, sir. It is there. I will see if I can share that link here. Zoho Books, I think some ICA or something was there. Just see if I can share that link, or I'll put it as a part of this presentation, sir.
Okay, that will be useful. Yeah, because if you just go on the Google it, you will not get it.
Yeah. I'll share the link. I'm just sharing in a minute.
Yeah.
I am just sharing. Obviously, it will not made available on Google so very easily.
That's right.
I am just sharing that link.
It's for 3 years, huh?
It's for 3 years, sir. Yes.
Okay.
I am not sure 3 years from the date we start or 3 years from the date ICA has a tie-up, but I think it's worthwhile to go give it a try.
But is it only for chartered accountants or for chartered accountant clients also?
No, sir, only for CA. Only for CA. They are giving, this is a tie-up with MOU, sir. There's an MOU with our ICI, where committee of small and medium practitioners, they have this. Quite exciting it is. I find it handy.
Narasimhan, any idea like ICA is saying that they're spending around 50 crores to enable all
Sir, that is a lot of discussion is going on, sir. I was part of one of those committee at the initial discussion stage,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things which is coming up. I still have my own reservations on how successful it may reach, but I think the attempt is from a thought process, they're very clear on it. I still don't know who is the person they're doing it, and also now that has become, with all due respect, an election campaign agenda also.
I know that. See, I mean, whenever some CC member take this initiative, other members will come out, and the person who cannot be successful, he'll always say that there may be some kickbacks or something like that. Yeah, that always happens. But
No, I
nevertheless,
don't want to go to that level. See, what I am a little skeptical of is, on a very, very pragmatic note, I went through the detailed requirement description document. It runs to close to about 30 to 35 pages. They have tried to put everything into that one place, sir. It's like they want one tool which will do office management also, which will do data analytics also, which will do real-time integration also, which will do financial reporting automation also. See, you can't have one tool which can solve all the problem, and nobody can come forward with such a solution.
No, I agree, but nevertheless, the initiative is very great. Like
Initiative, I have to really appreciate it. I think I'm with you on that. Yes.
Yeah, particularly for CS, if you say something which is free, at least they try, and then later on they invest. Earlier, if you had told Office 365 to buy it, nobody would have bought it.
Correct.
People after attending Excel sessions and all, then they thought, okay, let's at least
let's invest into it. Yes.
Yeah, two licenses, 3 licenses. Then we'll say, okay, we'll go for entire office. Okay.
Correct.
Similarly, at least they're making us to think about automating. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And every time they'll question, you have 800 crores, what are you doing? Let them spend 50 crores. So it doesn't.
Correct.
Yeah. I think that's all. Yeah.
Narasimhan,
yes, sir.
It's fantastic, thought-provoking presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Really good. You set up the whole thing for what we need to do. But there are so many tools that we are looking at. How many tools that we can use to make ourselves better, our office better, everything. At the same time, I think one is very important is to think about what tools can we develop to give it to our clients. That's something so important as such that is happening, because that's a big revenue model for us chartered accountants, because all of us know so many things and we are domain expertise. And actually, if you look into, I was attending a forum called Digital Accounting Forum. It's a global forum. And in that, a lot of companies who wanted to sell their products were coming and showing their products or talking about it. Amazing products, what they have outside India. Amazing.
Very nice. Okay.
Everything is something what can be done. Only just copying that and doing it in India would be also a good revenue model. Just copy it, Indianize it. Because all those prices are in dollar prices and euro prices, which we cannot afford. None of our clients also will afford. But we just have to look at it, and each one of us are capable enough to actually spend time and develop those models. For example, look, there are products which talk about doing a forecasting, budgeting, forecasting. What is it? Tally is there. People like Venu are there. They can actually build a forecasting model easily from Tally. They can build it off. And it can be a product given to people can use it.
Agree.
Everything is possible. But I think we as chartered accountants need to start looking at how to develop tools and make that as a revenue model for us.
Oh, yes, sir.
And doing that, that's something very important now.
I agree with you. I think it's a question of time how we become more, probably tech-driven coupled with tool-driven approach. Once that attitude comes in, I think you're absolutely right.
This generation, chartered accountants, definitely they'll get into it. Maybe Vivek's son or your son or something like that. Definitely they'll get into that. Yeah.
No, because when you're talking about it, Babu, when I was struggling, we have that logo, one of our office logo, which is on a particular background.
Yeah.
I wanted to put it on something else, and I was struggling. I'd asked my office everything. One day my daughter came, she just took that, put it onto a website and removed it, saying that background removal from a logo. These kids know so much, not because my daughter, but the kids. She says, these are so simple things. Everybody knows it. You guys don't know it. That is what these kids today are.
On a jovial note, sir, my 2-year-old son knows, he knows Alexa, play Baba Black Sheep.
They know it.
So yeah.
And your son, Narasimhan.
That is the same thing my wife said. See, he's your son. See what all he does. So your genes are coming there. Yeah, great.
Okay, I think Praveen will formally close it.
Sure.
It was a very interesting session, Narasimhan. Actually, I had another this one. Then I thought of joining and then be there for a few minutes. But I attended the entire 2-hour session. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It was an
And also, one just wanted to say that you start using Microsoft product, Office 365. Not that I want to promoting Microsoft, but I've seen the benefit of that, because Microsoft 365 with Teams, SharePoint, everything, whatever Narasimhan told, majority of it is all combined into one suite, and it's all ready to use, because Excel and Word is something which we can't go away with it. Because Google Sheet, Google Docs, everything, we have tried it out and then said Microsoft Word and Excel is what it is. Most of us, we use it. So that is really good and worth using it, because the way Office can work, especially work from home can work, and connectivity that has been created is fantastic.
Vivek, you should try Zoho.
As innovative as possible.
Vivek, you should try Zoho also.
No, I'm talking about Microsoft Teams because it's Office, Excel and Word is integrated in it. That's the only reason, nothing else.
That's a very, very simple, as Vivek sir rightly said. You can put in a file over there and just edit it, both of you at the same point in time, discuss and close it, and it's just one version of truth. And it gets directly saved in SharePoint. So assuming we are the person who's involved in the audit, we can quickly do it. And then once it is over, push it back.
Vinny?
I request Venugopal sir to give his closing remarks.
Can I take a minute of it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Nagesh sir, please, sir, please.
Sir, Elangovan sir,
Yes, sir.
can you just throw some light on the Microsoft BI?
Power BI, sir.
Yeah, I heard it as only BI. I don't know whether it's a Power BI or only BI. It's like basically it is integrated. It can be the link to the Tally ODBC, and you will be able to generate the whole reports of your MIS, and it can be viewed in your mobile or anywhere it is. It's without any much of a struggle. It is.
Then it must be Power BI only, sir. So what happens is Tally ODBC, first and foremost, you have to pull in some sort of a basic scripts to pull the data into Excel. And that Excel data is imported to Power BI. And the Power BI mobile version, you can download it or you can view those results. That is a high level thought process. If you have to go into the little bit of nitty gritties, it is not as simple as you said, but it requires some bit of solutioning on top of it.
Sir, one of my friend who is not much tech savvy, he was able to do it without like when I was telling, I was talking about ODBC. This is how you can do it, and he was struggling to get the data into the Excel, and his son he has linked it to the BI.
No, sir. What I'll tell you, in Power BI, there is an option called import data from sources. Okay, just like even in Excel also it is the same thing. They've see. Power BI is nothing but enhanced version of Excel with some more visualization and some more facility and some bit of dashboarding. It also has data modeling and various other fancy functions. So what you have to do is in Tally, you need to understand which are the key fields you have to pull it. For example, I want ledger, XR, ABC or transaction, pull those key fields, which can be done using Power BI. And then you have to just go ahead and link it. It is possible, sir. As I said, one option is bring it to Excel, from Excel, save it in a particular folder, so that your Power BI goes and picks it up from that. Option number 2 is enable a feature in Power BI. There's something called DAX query, Power Query, and this thing. So if you're able to write the DAX query, it will be able to easily pull it.
Okay. I think it's very useful for the.
Sir, you're on mute suddenly. Nagesh sir, you're on mute suddenly, I think.
Sir, that's it, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Good. I think Narasimhan, everyone has enjoyed your session.
Thank you, sir.
Most important thing which I would like to say is this is one session, even if once in a quarter you repeat and you just speak the same thing, there is some or the other thing to take away. So I would urge the tech wing to take up more sessions on the technology, at least definitely once in a quarter. And also, if you can include in like inviting the speakers like Narasimhan, and take up one area to see how you can focus, automate your office. And as discussed, there are many tools. Like now, Vivek is so much fascinated with Microsoft Office 365 and SharePoint because he recently implemented and he got benefits of it. So like that, I think maybe the people who have implemented something, they can actually be invited and share their experience. And VCAT as a small community, and we are all actively looking at sharing knowledge to our members. And Narasimhan, you have done a beautiful job in collecting so much of the information and bringing it to the readers. And I'm sure every one of us, including me, have learned at least one or two takeaways are there. And superb job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
I think So I think we've learned a new mantra that you taught us, sir. Innovate or you have to just vacate. So, so before we part, I request all the members to spare a couple of minutes and share their feedback. The link can be found in the chat. Again, I formally thank you, sir, on behalf of all the members for such a beautiful and wonderful session. Definitely, there are a couple of takeaways, if not couple more than that, actually, for all of us. So thanks again. And yeah, on this note, I wish all of you a good and a safe night. Thank you.
One thing before we wind up, I always see Narasimhan session is a power pack session. You speak 2 decades ahead of today's timeline to make us to visualize where we are and where we are traveling through. And so much of quality comes in, not easy to miss even a fraction of minute when you're talking. There's so much of content you gear up in your thought process. And especially when I say strategy, like you didn't stick up to your technical part of it. You made us to think on the articleship apprentice. You made us to think on the office, the process, what goes on, management skills, and many things. And I really thank personally from VCAT to spare your time on today's session. And as Venu suggested, we will see to have a few more sessions, at least once in a quarter, to get a much maximum benefit out of it. And members, before we part, I would like to draw your attention. There are 2 books which were co-authored by Narasimhan Elengau, and we will put it in our feedback and the presentation slide, a must read through. One of that, I was talking about IoT, Internet of Things. In addition to that, strategy for CFMC also was one of the co-author for Institute. It's not that easy to get authored with ICA, but a must read through. And we are happy to have you for today's session, Narasimhan. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.